1.1 billion people at the same time all watching the same thing. It is an amazing thing what global football has become, and that is basically thanks to FIFA. But it must be noted that when you have this much attention on one event, 13% of the entire global population watching at one time, it will quickly become less about the beauty of this game and more about, I mean, you know what I'm gonna say, more about money. Every 4 years there's a World Cup, and this is how much each of these countries have spent on their World Cup. And you get something like this. Like, it's getting out of hand. Like, every year they spend more and more and more. Oh, and spoiler alert, wait till I show you this graph with Qatar in the mix. Minds will be blown, I can promise you that. The point is that countries are willing to pay more and more to get the World Cup in their country. Like, we can't fathom how rich this teeny little thumb-shaped country is. They could not spend their money fast enough. 95% of the people who live and work here are not Qataris. They're expats from other places, 95%. In 2017, the BBC noted that Qatar owns more land in the UK than the Queen does. You see where I'm going with this? Lucky for them, there is a shortcut to the most prestigious event in the world, the World Cup. Oh, and this event happens to be run by an organization that speaks a language that they're very familiar with, the language of money and power and influence. Michel Platini, a former French football player turned FIFA guy. He was the president of this confederation, which inevitably meant that he has sway over these other dudes. Just 1 week before the vote, like crunch time, Platini got an invitation that he couldn't refuse. A luncheon with the French president at his palace. Platini later said that before this meeting, he was planning on voting for the US to host the World Cup in 2022. But he goes to this luncheon, and who else is there? No big deal, just these two guys, the most powerful dudes in Qatar. One of them the Prime Minister of Qatar, and the other the current Emir of Qatar, from like the old dynasty family. The president of France, Sarkozy, is stressed, and he's in the room with the leaders of Qatar who are not nearly in the same financial trouble, and it's clear that these Qataris want something that the Frenchmen in the room can deliver them, a vote for their country to host the World Cup, something they really want. According to sources close to this meeting, Sarkozy flat out told Platini to vote for Qatar. Why? Well, we'll never know. In this same meeting, Sarkozy told the Qataris that he wanted Qatar to buy the French football team Paris Saint-Germain, which happens to be Sarkozy's favorite football team, and at the time was in financial ruin. After this meeting, a few important things happened. Number one, Qatar did end up buying that football team for £60 million, just like Sarkozy wanted. They turned it around, and soon it became a star-studded team with merch that's worn by the world's most popular celebrities. And then we suddenly see an uptick in big trade deals between Qatar and France. Qatar Airways buys 50 giant planes from Airbus, the giant French airplane maker. And in the end, Platini in this room with his president telling him to do what the Qataris want. We need them right now. And it worked. Michel Platini flipped his vote from the USA to Qatar. He admitted it later, that's not even speculation. The president of the executive committee, Sepp Blatter, was pissed about this and later said that this was the defining moment for Qatar winning.